Welcome. In this lesson, we're going to look at adding audio to our app. So there's two ways in which we're going to do this. So firstly, we're just going to look at good places to look for audio. So you could be looking for short little samples, or you could be looking for backing tracks to play on your app. So the next thing we're going to look at is how to add background music to your scene. So each scene can have its own background music, which is really cool. And then looking at how to add short snippets or samples to a button. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to look at is where to get sound from. There are loads and loads of places. Ultimately, unless you want to pay for them, you do need to look for copyright material. So one good place is Freesound. Freesound is a fantastic way of getting samples. So if you just want little clicks or whatever kind of samples you want, they're there. Another one that I quite like is this bensound.com. So bensound.com has loads and loads of free backing tracks, and they're free for Creative Commons use. So if you're going to use it in a professional production, you do have to pay, but if you're not, then you may use it, and it's absolutely great. And that includes YouTube videos, which is great. So the one that I'm going to use for this app is going to be this track called Summer. I will attach this to the classroom as well, so you can use the sample that I've got from Freesound, and you can use the sample I got from bensound as well. So once you've done that, you do need to download your tracks. So if I just minimize this, and so I've downloaded two tracks here. Now the first thing you need to know is Godot only deals with two types of audio. It deals with OGG or OGG, and it deals with WAV. Any other format it won't work. So when we come to importing this MP3, you'll notice that it will not work. And if you have anything other than OGG or WAV, it's not going to work, and I'll show you that in a minute. So over here you'll notice that we've got all our apps set up, and now if I come out of this and I drag my audio files into my app, and just remember that there are 3 files in here, but you will only see 2. So let's just drag that in, make sure it goes in. So here we go, there's our audio files right there. So let's click on Godot, let them import, and you'll notice that our audio files turn up. So you're noticing that we've only got 2 here. We've got the OGG sound, and we've got the WAV sound, and that is it. Anything else will not work. So this could pose a couple of problems. So now let's look at the next bit, which is adding background music to our scene. And now we've got all these scenes set up. So if I go ahead and open a few scenes here, I won't need to add one to my master scene. So we'll just have home open, we'll have holiday open, and whatever. And it's the same process. So if we just start with the home button, or if we start with the holiday, actually this might make more sense. So we'll start with the holiday button, and we're just going to create a node that plays a bit of audio. So if we click on this button here, the plus button, and the one that we want is audio stream player. So if we just start typing audio, and it should turn up, and there it is right there. There are 3 kinds. So you've got this 2D audio and this 3D audio, but we're going to use the most basic one. When you're playing games or you're creating games, you might want these ones, but this is the one we're going to use. So double click on this and it will add it in. Make sure it's not indented. So I did have the holidays node selected when I imported this. Now the next thing, we have this stream icon, so we're just going to attach our background music. So come into the audio files. Now the background music that I've got is this bensound one, this Summer. So if I click and drag it on, and now we have background music. There's a couple of settings that we can look at. So we can have playing, or we can have autoplay. So in order to get this to play, you will need autoplay selected. Now if you've only got a short bit of music, you might want it on loop. So with the stream player selected, you can click on this button here, import. And if loop isn't selected or is selected, you can just click on this and then have that way. Now, I don't actually want this one looped, so I'm just going to do this, and then you need to press this re-import button. Once you've done that, it will update itself and we're good to go. So if I click on this play button, it will take me to my home page where we'll hear no sound. Let's just get that rolling. And when I press the holidays, hopefully, all being well, we'll now get this backing track. And there we go, fantastic. Click off of it and we have no sound. So you can actually have different music per slide. So if you have 3 or 4 different tracks, you can do that. So the next one we want to do is add it to our button. Now this is ever so slightly a little bit more difficult, because the buttons already have an action applied. So I'm going to apply this in a slightly different way. So here's my master slide, and I'm going to apply it to this this houses one here. Now with houses, you'll notice we've already got the signal set up. So if we click on nodes, you'll notice that we've already got this houses pressed on. And we've also got this one here. This is the one I actually want. I was going to remove it. So if I just remove this now, and I'll show it to you again. So this is the one we set up in the last lesson. And if we come over to the scripts panel, you should see that. So here's our master slide. And you'll see all 4 of our buttons that have already been set up. So one we want to do now, we come back to here. With houses selected, this is this button here. We want to come down to a different signal. We can't use pressed again. We could apply it, but you just wouldn't hear the sound. So the one that I'm going to use is this mouse entered. So whenever your mouse enters into this button, it will play the sound. So we're going to double click on this and make sure it's selected house, make sure it's on the master slide, and then just press connect. Now when we come over to here, we should see this extra one here. Now we also need to set up our player. So let's go and grab another audio stream, and we can grab it from over here, look. So let's just grab this one. Make sure we get the right one because that's a different one. There we go, we've got an audio stream, and I'm just going to name it hit sound. So that'll make more sense when I'm calling it in my code. So down here where it says mouse entered, we're just going to write a tiny bit of code. And it's just a one-liner. We're going to use a $sign, and the $sign calls the node that we want. So here's the node that we want, and we just need to say hit and then sound. So that's the exact same as what we've got here. And then what we want to do is dot play open close bracket. So we've got $, hit sound, dot play, open close bracket. It does need to be spelled exactly the same way. So you notice there's no spaces there. I have a capital H and I have a capital S in order for that to work. So let's just press play. And whenever I enter into that button, hopefully, all being well, that should work. So here we go. It won't work on holidays, but if I enter this one, it should work. And it didn't. Let's just try that one more time. Just make sure we save the scenes. Okay, should work. But one more time. Oh, you know what it is? I haven't connected the sound. So go back to the inspector, and look, it says null. So let's go over to the sound that I want. And let's grab this sound button. Now let's press play, and now it should work. And there we go. So every time we enter in, it will go on. There we go. That could get annoying quite quickly, but I just wanted to demonstrate how you could attach a sound to a button. So for this task, you have 2 things to complete then. I want a background sound for at least one of your pages, and I want some background sounds for your buttons.